This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome to the Elevate Construction Podcast, where we nudge you gently out of your comfort zone and into more progress. My name is Jason Schroeder, and today's podcast is about expectations. And so I have a quote for you. Expect the best in yourself and appreciate the best in others. Your example and sincere gratitude for one's best will lift them higher than frustrated expectations ever could. And so that quote is really pointing us to the fact that we have to expect the best in ourselves and really set the example. How many leaders do we see out there in our industry where they aren't disciplined, they aren't organized, they aren't safe, they don't care about certain things, and yet they demand that from other people? I absolutely loathe that. If somebody isn't disciplined, they can't exact discipline from somebody else. If somebody isn't organized, they can't model organization and expect others to be organized. We have to be able to do the things that we expect from others. And I know that you, like me, are frustrated with situations where that isn't the case, where there's a level of hypocrisy there, right? And so we also need to appreciate the best in others. And we are talking about human beings, and if somebody's failing, we can notice that failure and correct the consequence, correct the root cause, but still appreciate the human being that's behind it. That's a very good concept in my mind, and it will lead us to more happiness than the other way, where we don't appreciate the best from others and we get angry. And so the last part, your example and sincere gratitude for one's best will lift them higher than frustrated expectations ever could. That's true. Everything in life that lifts other people centers around being a good example and providing sincere gratitude for one's best. And even though we might have frustrated expectations of other people, telling them that or yelling or being angry is never going to motivate them to be better. So even if it makes us feel good, even if it's a release for us to go express those frustrations, like we sometimes do with our children, like I do with my children, or I do when I get angry, I've chosen to get angry, even though that feels better, it's not going to make anything better. So one more time, expect the best in yourself and appreciate the best in others. Your example and sincere gratitude for one's best will lift them higher than frustrated expectations ever could. And so this little short podcast is for superintendents on a Tuesday. This is your content. This applies to you because people push you superintendents more than they push almost any other role in construction. And you're pushed and backed up against a wall and backed into a corner. And we have to know how to deal with these situations effectively so that we don't get in trouble and so that we respect people. So let's go through some concepts here today. Number one, respect equals high expectations. And so if I don't expect good things from people, if I don't expect good things from my children, if I don't expect good things from workers and from others and from partners, then I don't respect them. I have to expect good things. But if somebody disappoints me, if somebody disappoints those expectations, we're going to accept their best and give sincere gratitude and appreciation for that. We are not going to throw them away. I've had a tendency of doing that in the past, and that's probably one of my biggest weaknesses. But for most people, when somebody has frustrated expectations, that leads to anger. It doesn't naturally lead to a point where somebody can give their sincere gratitude and appreciation and find a different way to take care of it. It usually leads to anger. So how does a superintendent reconcile this when they're getting pushed all day long and having to expect high standards on their project site? And so that's the question. How can we expect high expectations and not get angry? And the way we do it is that we need to separate the standard and the process from the person. This is actually a lean concept that says blame the process, not the person. Blame the process, not the person. And so anytime we're in a situation and something's going wrong, the first thing that we'll do is we'll say, what in this process is failing us? What have I done as a leader that's failing us? And then if we can fix the process, or not if, we will fix the process. We will fix the situation. We will go ahead and look at what standards that are holding us back. We'll see if there's any missing resources. And then if it's still a people problem, meaning you've looked at the process first, you've looked at the resources, you've looked at the leadership, you've looked at the standards, and it legitimately is that this worker or this foreman or this person is not capable of performing within their role, then you will still appreciate their best, you will still provide sincere gratitude, and you will not get angry at them, but you will change the circumstances. There will be not negative punishment consequences, but there will be consequences to that. There will be changes that are coming. You will look at it objectively. You will take emotions out of it, and you will see what you need to do as a leader to fix that situation that provides a win-win and respect for people. That doesn't mean that just because somebody's doing their best and they're not cutting it in a certain critical role on the project site that you have to leave them in that role. You can change that role. You can change the circumstance. Heck, you can even ask them to be removed from the project because it's something they're not familiar with or they're not performing. But it doesn't mean that we have to get angry. It doesn't mean we have to get frustrated. It doesn't mean we have to personally attack that person. We need to objectively look at the situation. And why would that be important? How many times has a superintendent gotten in trouble for cursing on the job site? How many times has a superintendent gotten in trouble for accusing a trade partner? How often has a superintendent gotten in trouble for throwing his hard hat? These are things that will hold you back. And so I'm trying to give you a method that you can use to get past it. So here's how this looks. Normally in construction, we expect the best from others, and we appreciate the best in ourselves, and we do what needs to be done. And what that means is that we're expecting everybody to do perfect work, and we're saying that we're doing our best, and that we're going to do whatever we need to do to get something done. Just like I talked about in yesterday's podcast, where we use anger and sadness and all of these things and yelling as manipulation to get somebody else to yield. Superintendents will do that. They'll start throwing hard hats. They'll start yelling. They'll start criticizing. They'll start cussing and emotionally manipulate somebody else to get done what they need done. And so why do they get angry? Because a superintendent has a need for certainty and significance most of the time. And so if somebody takes away that need for certainty and significance, that leads to anger. Because that trade partner, that foreman, that worker has stolen something that superintendent wants. And that superintendent selfishly wants those things. So once you steal those things from him or her, that's going to lead to anger because their pattern is wrong. And so we have 6 basic human needs: certainty, variation or variety, significance, love and connection, and then the last 2 are growth and contribution. And anytime we're too focused on the first 4, and we don't get those things, then we go into this cycle of being angry and sad. If our focus can appropriately be put on contribution and growth, those last 2 in the 6 human needs, where we're giving to people, then we can appropriately handle situations through consequences. So this is what we should do. We should expect the best from ourselves, we should appreciate the best in others, and we should always do the right thing. So here's what that looks like. So if I'm expecting the best in myself and saying, hey, everybody else is doing their best, I appreciate that work, but something needs to be fixed. Let's say a foreman, a worker, or a supervisor isn't cutting the mustard in their role and doing what needs to be done. Once you've focused on the process first, then go do the right thing. Change that up, put them in the right seat, change up the seats, get them off the bus, do something to help them, either put in a supportive network or correct the situation. Because if you're focused on growth and contribution, if you're focused on just doing the right thing, that leads to administering consequences, not anger. So we need superintendents to handle things in the right way, authoritatively, and without getting yourself in trouble. So if you have a foreman that's not performing, typically you just yell, you would demean, cuss at him or her, get them in trouble, and cause a ruckus. But the best way to do it is if you have a situation that needs to be looked at. Like I said before, you say, what in our process is not serving us? Is this a process problem? Have I provided the resources? Are our standards correct? Is there any supportive system that I need to correct before I look at this person? And if the person is failing in their leadership as a foreman, as a worker, as a leader, wherever, then you provide some support. Then you provide training. Then you provide help. And if after all of that, they're still not performing, you say, thank you. I appreciate your best effort. I appreciate what you're doing. And let's go ahead and see how we can figure this out. So you might have to work to get them replaced. You might have to work to get them in a different situation. You might have to get somebody there to help them, or they might not just be a fit for the project. But you don't have to do it in an angry way. This way, the situation is more healthy. So that's the pattern. Expect the best in yourself, appreciate the best in others, but always do the right thing, which leads to leading with consequences. Okay? And so the closing for this is, you as a superintendent don't need to go out and throw your hard hat. You as a superintendent don't need to go out and cuss at people. You don't need to get angry at people. You don't need to threaten people. You don't need to go do these things. You just need to take emotion out of it, look at it objectively, and handle your business, your role with respect, right? And do the right thing. But doing the right thing also means that we appreciate people's best and that we don't accuse them and try and manipulate them with bad behavior, but that we manipulate circumstances, that we do the right thing with circumstances, that we do the right thing with consequences to get to the right answer. And so the closing for this is that you don't get in trouble the next time this happens, that you don't lose your temper the next time this happens, that you don't get in a situation where you have to apologize the next time this happens, and that you can maintain and garner the respect that you need to go lead a workforce on a project site and be respected for safety, for cleanliness, for organization, for quality, and that you can go lead an effective workforce that will keep them safe and keep them going home to their families safely. That's the vision for this. Because how many times have we gotten into a trade partner meeting or what people call a sub meeting and we lose it? We just lose it on everybody, start cussing, throw things, whatever. And then we leave the meeting and we're like, oh, I lost today. I lost. I'm never going to get that back. And so you don't have to do that. Take this advice and remember this quote. Expect the best in yourself and appreciate the best in others. Your example and sincere gratitude for one's best will lift them higher than frustrated expectations ever could. And I would add to that, always do the right thing, and that will never lead you astray. As long as you can keep focused on giving and not focus on the fear of losing something and the frustration of losing something. Make sure we treat people right, we attack the process first, and we organize things in a way where everybody can be successful, even if that means making a change. I appreciate you guys listening to this podcast. I hope this helps. Please reach out to me with further clarifications or questions or any feedback you want. We love feedback. These podcasts are about you. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.